Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. Are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Welcome, come in, sit down, have a pew. A very, very good Thursday morning to you. Boy, have I got lots of work to do. I've got to do today. I've got to clean this whole mansion, man. Lots to do, but nothing's stopping me from doing my videos. But look what Warner Brothers sent me. This is really exciting. Not really the dceu. They sent me the steelbook of Justice League versus the Fatal Five and the standard copy. Why? I don't know. But I've got two of them, so thank you very much, Warner Brothers. Haven't seen that yet. When I do, I will be reviewing it. I just want to just quickly say, Bruce Timm, forget Kevin Feige, Bruce Timm is my God. He's a genius. What he's done with this animated film verse is beautiful. He did it with the TV shows at first as well. You know, this man isn't spoken about enough, is he? But Bruce Timm, you are a genius. Anyway, we're not here to talk about Bruce. Right. I'm here to talk about the MCU's effect on the film industry and, more importantly, on the DCEU. When you think about it, right, when you look at Man of Steel, and when you look at Batman v Superman, and when you look at the Snyder Cut, these are free films. In fact, look at the whole universe before the Justice League edition of Justice League. It's a unique, original, unique take on superheroes, on the DC verse. It is. And in any other era, these films would be absolutely loaded. But not in this era. Why? Because since Avengers Ensemble, right? Everyone has gone mad. Everyone's become biased. You got to be like the MCU, right? And the whole of the industry is suffering. While Disney and Marvel Studios are coining it in, everybody else is dying. People are not able to make original content, unique content, right? Man of Steel, right, was written by Christopher Nolan, right? As well as David S. Goyer. Both those men were responsible for the most successful, the most iconic comic book film of all time, The Dark Knight. So, these two people, right, you can't blame Warner Brothers, can you? You know, these guys did The Dark Knight. Let's let them, you know, godfather this new DC cinematic universe. Great idea, right? What's wrong with that? Absolutely nothing. But it happened in 2013. And by then, the MCU was well on its way, right? 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 years on, right? It was about to release the first Avengers movie. And from the moment that Avengers movie came out, all sensibility of unique filmmaking and storytelling went out the window. So what happened with Justice League actually is very understandable. Now let's go back to the release of Batman v Superman. The divisive nature, the hatred by the mainstream audience for this film, I will never understand it. I was watching a YouTube video by someone talking about Superman 4, and as usual, they have to mention the DCEU and their stunted opinion that the DCEU is bad. Actually, this video was recorded just before the Justice League movie was released. Hopefully, they can do a better job, and they can. Joss Whedon, who was the guy who put the MCU on the map, hopefully he can do that for the DCEU. Excuse me, mate. The DCEU is a unique franchise. And just because people are not jumping about cracking jokes, it doesn't make it a bad franchise. But that's the opinion now, that the DCEU franchise is bad. That Batman v Superman, that Man of Steel, that Suicide Squad were bad movies. Now, for some reason, everybody loves Wonder Woman. But for me, Wonder Woman's just continuing on from Batman v Superman. Yeah, it's very unique. Of course, you get kind of Easter eggs for Bruce Wayne and stuff on Wayne Industries and things like that. But she's literally holding the picture that was in Batman v Superman. That is the whole core story of the film. But everyone loved that film. And it's a beautiful film, and I freaking will love it as much as Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. But the whole situation is nuts. We've just had Endgame. There are so many kind of situations where you can look at that film and unbiased people can actually say, well, you know, in the end of the day, people died, people came back to life. and a couple of others died. But even then, I don't think those deaths are going to stick. So it's absolutely ridiculous where people just don't want to say anything against this franchise, but they're happy to kick 7 lumps. So out of the DCEU. But let's look at Kevin Sugihara's decision to try and make the DCEU via Justice League a Marvel Cinematic Universe with jokes, where the mainstream audience come in and say it's the best thing since sliced bread. That failed. That failed because you can't take somebody else's movie, right, somebody else's unique take, bring someone else in who's very talented, and then say, right, we want you to kind of rewrite elements of this film, put some jokes in, and kind of, oh, you've got to bring the actor back, but you can't shave his tash off, but you've got to CGI it out, but you haven't got very long to do that. So the whole thing's a mess because of Sugihara. But you've got to think about the pressure that Sugihara was on from his board of directors. You know, the hatred for Batman v Superman, the hatred for this franchise after Man of Steel and Batman v Superman was so high by the mainstream audience. Sugihara was under extreme pressure just to put butts on seats and make everyone love it. Meaning everyone, the mainstream audience. You see, the mainstream audience are such a curse to any franchise because, of course, they're important because you need them to make money. Look what's happened to Game of Thrones now. Basically, anything the fans of the novels like, right, is not being given in this final season. It's all about what the mainstream audience want because that's where the money is and that's where the spin-off audience is going to come. So this is the problem. So then the fans, the actual fans of the DCEU are not considered. Oh, right, we're all pumped for Zack's Justice League, right? Sod them. We've got to please the mainstream audience. And this is what happened here. So in a way, although what Sugihara did was absolutely insane and ridiculous, I don't blame him. As a business kind of point of view and the pressure he was under, he just cracked in the end and said, well, I've got to do something here. You know, I can't back this. So, you know, this is why they didn't back Zack and Chris's original script. Because even Zack said at the SnyderCon that I can because he even admitted that everyone was feeling, you know, suffering from a lack of confidence, a Zack of confidence. Even that could work, couldn't it? But a lack of confidence. So even they agreed, well, maybe this is crazy and maybe we need to dumb it down a bit. So they did. But Snyder and Terrio, being Snyder and Terrio, still put in an awesome script which was loyal to what they did with Batman v Superman. So they, you know, they even shot elements of the original script, but not the really scary stuff, according to Zack. So then they do this film, and Sugihara says, "No, I can't. This is not going to work. They are going to kill us." So again, I have to look at it from all points of view. Even though the decision he made was crazy, the only other decision he could have made was just to shut the whole thing down, say to Joss Whedon, write your script, start again, and when Henry's available, we'll shoot this thing. But they didn't do that. That would have made more sense. We still wouldn't have been happy about it, but doing what they did was insane. But the immense pressure. So what's the point of this what I'm talking about in my video today? The point is the MCU is destroying the film industry. As I said on the top of the show, right? They are making a lot of money. They're doing well for themselves, but everybody just wants to watch that franchise. It's like the mainstream audience don't care about the other franchises anymore. So how long is this going to last? Well, I think Kevin Feige, will be running this franchise for the next 20 years. He's kind of the Stan Lee of the MCU. He isn't going anywhere. So, you know, we're all going to suffer. But I think Walter Hamada is, well, I know Walter Hamada is a very, very clever dude. And what I think he did with Shazam is brilliant, because what he did, he took elements of what Feige is doing with the MCU and married elements of what Snyder has already done with the DCEU. So he married the light and the dark together, and I think that's more of what we're going to get. Now, I think it's a compromise. It's a compromise none of us wanted, but it's a compromise we're going to get. What happened to Zack Snyder was wrong, but there were more elements of just blaming Jeff Johns and Kevin Sugihara It's the culture, it's the atmosphere, it's the environment we're in because of the MCU, because of their kind of formulaic TV series concept that is working big time. Everyone else is suffering because, of course, if everybody else does it, it's not going to work either. And you don't want an industry where people do the same things. It's bad enough this generation kind of takes the same selfies as each other, and the females wear the same bloody thong bikinis. It's like we're clones now. But that's off subject anyway, right? The point is here that I think what Hamada is doing going forward is very clever, marrying what the MCU are doing and marrying what Snyder already did, and Christopher Nolan and Goya have already done, if you like. Sorry, I can't lose my background, as you know. OCD. So I think going forward, what Hamada is doing is really good. And I think as fans, we're going to have to compromise a bit. Now, before I go, I'm a bit disappointed with some of my fellow DCEU fans. Now, apparently, Zack Snyder has seen Shazam and he said it's a really fun movie. Now, apparently, this could be fake. I think something was posted on the social media Vero site he's on, right? Now, apparently, this could be fake, but this is just ridiculous, right? David S. Goyer spent David S. Sandberg spent half that film showing Zack Snyder the love, giving you Easter eggs for Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. But some of you lot are obsessed with Shazam being a failure because you think if this kind of new DCEU fails, then they're just going to say, oh, Zack, can you come back? That's never going to happen, and it's not a failure. Walter Hamada and the changes he made for Aquaman worked. $1 billion. Shazam, as soon as that was released, greenlit for a sequel. A Black Adam movie has already been greenlit. The star of that film, The Rock, has already been openly talking about coming to shoot that at Warner Brothers next year. You know, Shazam was a success. It doesn't matter that it's barely made $400 million. That's not the point. They were happy with the reaction to it. They were happy what they got from it. They did make a profit, of course. I mean, even I was dreaming about $1 billion, but it was never realistic. It was never going to happen. Nobody knew who this character was, apart from die-hard comic book fans. And as we've already discussed, it's the mainstream that make you successful in terms of box office and finance. So I truly believe after this film, the sequel will make a lot more money. But the real one, if they get to do it eventually, will be a Shazam versus a Black Adam movie. So Shazam has been successful. It's a little success for a little movie. Even people at Warner Brothers have said to me, this is our little movie, this is our little success. They've told me we're happy to make baby steps from now on. We know we've kind of had issues because the mainstream audience don't like how this franchise started. But even people at Warner Brothers love Zack Snyder. But they've made decisions because they're a business. And that's the way I see it. Anyway, right, going back to the whole Zack loving Shazam thing, there's a few Zack Snyder fans turning a bit nasty. Even some Zack Snyder fans turning against Zack. Basically, right, if Shazam had failed, he wouldn't have got the Snyder Cut any quicker. That's not how this is going to go. As far as I'm concerned, Shazam is a great little movie. Zack likes it because Zack is obviously enjoyed the film. But not just that. That film shows Zack Snyder it's such a DCEU movie. It's not ashamed of what Zack did. It's saying thank you. In a way, it's Warner Brothers and David S. Sandberg's way of saying, sorry, dude, thank you. And as Zack Snyder fans and fans of what he did with Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, we should be happy about that. Not arguing with each other on Twitter. Think about it, people. Anyway, thank you very much for watching today. I've noticed I'm getting a few more subscribers. So thank you for every single one of you who subscribed. You matter. You mean a lot to me. It's just great to be able to do this and talk about what I'm passionate about and hopefully talk about things that you're passionate about as well. So I'm hoping maybe to review Justice League versus the Fatal Five. I'm also looking to talk about the Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, in a video, maybe later on today. So I'll see you a little bit later.